back on the Penn State train, though.
Let's get back on Penn State.
13-3 last year, and JP set it up pretty perfectly in the fact those 3 losses were to the 3 best teams they played. They don't really win the big games. They don't typically beat the teams that are as good as they are, and beat teams that are favored in matchups. But Drew Aller's back. They return a ton of stuff besides him. Drew Aller, their quarterback, threw for 3,300 yards, 24 touchdowns, 8 interceptions last season, had a 66% completion rate, 6 rush TDs, is looking to play his way into conversation to be the first QB taken in this upcoming draft class. He's that good. Some people think he's that good. They also returned their running back duo, Nick Singleton and Katron Allen. Pretty surprisingly, honestly, that both come back. I think part of it is due to the fact that they know they have a chance to win it all this year, but also this past NFL draft had such a deep running back class that it was just kind of really hard to get taken high because of that. So they bring back a ton of pieces offensively, and then they hit the transfer portal for wide receivers. In my opinion, the best one they got is Trevor Pena from Syracuse, had 941 yards and 9 TDs there last year, and he works in the slot, so it could be a nice little security blanket for Drew Aller there. With that being said, I want to kind of jump into my biggest point. Well, actually, first, JP, you can give your thoughts on Drew Aller. You're the known Penn State guy of the group, I guess. So,
I love Drew Aller. I think he's the best quarterback out of the quarterbacks that are going to come out this year at this moment. He makes, out of all of those quarterbacks, the most NFL level throws. Super strong arm. His accuracy last year, I thought, made massive improvements. His leadership was big, and in some of the games that they were supposed to win but were big moments, he made big throws. Think of the USC game. Think of the Boise State game. And then if you want to just see can this guy play in the NFL, go turn on the Big Ten title game.
Yeah.
He was amazing in that game for a Penn State offense that throughout the season was not explosive, and historically has never been explosive. The defense could not contain Dylan Gabriel in Oregon, and yet Drew Aller was keeping that Penn State offense step for step with that Oregon offense in that Big Ten title game. I thought it was his most impressive performance of the entire season and of his career. He is, he reminds you of Josh Allen, of course, with the size and everything. I think he's got a long way to go there. But also, if you remember Josh Allen correctly, he was super raw coming out of college and going into the NFL. And he didn't really develop until about year 4 when he finally kind of turned down on the interceptions and found that key middle ground. And that's when he started playing MVP level football. Aller could be on that same trajectory. I would take him as the first quarterback just because I think it's the safest option of okay, this guy is going to be a starter for sure. Looking at the other quarterbacks, I think you're taking a chance on a ton of them. But the other ones have higher ceilings than Drew Aller. I won't disagree with that whatsoever. But Drew is excellent. I think big things for this season is, can you maybe try to almost throw for 4,000 yards with the receivers that you have? Can the Penn State offense, I think, is going to have to be the workhorse. They've still got capable defenders, but the offense is going to be the engine of this team. And I'm curious to see if they can score up to 30 points a game. And then I need him to stay healthy. I know he wants to win a national title, but if he gets hurt, he is going to hurt his draft stock a ton.
Sure.
And that is going to change whether or not he is drafted in the first round next year. So I put your body on the line in the national championship game like Riley Leonard did, but try to protect yourself throughout the season and don't take big hits in games that you do not need to. Those are the things I'm looking for from Aller this year. But he's the best quarterback in the class right now.
Do you agree with that, Sanderson, being the best?
I do agree. JP, would you postulate that if he had gone out last year, would he have been closer to Cam Ward than QB3 was to him? Or was he your QB2? Would he have been last year?
I think he would have been right there with Shedeur.
Okay.
I think there's an argument for either of them. He, like I said, it's just I'm really confident that he could be a starting quarterback in the NFL.
Sure.
And I think he has a higher ceiling than Shador, though.
Okay.
I think he could still reach maybe a Josh Allen ceiling. But I think he would have been right there with Shador at quarterback 2.
Cool. You mentioned the receivers he's going to have to throw to. So they brought in Trevor Pena. They do lose Tyler Warren at tight end, but they also brought in 2 other wide receivers. You mind scrolling down just a second? In Kyron Hudson from USC and then Devontae Ross from Troy. You had over 1,000 yards at Troy. I know it's a smaller school, so I want to throw that out there that he really popped there at Troy. Do you think the wide receiver room is 100% improved, in my opinion? Do y'all think it's more than enough to make up for losing Tyler Warren?
Oh, I definitely think it's more than enough to make up for Tyler Warren, and I think it could be enough to, I don't know if I'd say take it to the next step or the next level, but it will be, I think, an improved offense from last year because they've had the quarterback in Drew
Sure.
Aller to elevate an offense, and he just hasn't had the weapons around him other than Tyler Warren. And so now you have the same deadly run game you had last year with that duo of Singleton and Allen, and now you bring in wide receivers to go with your potential QB1 in the NFL draft, and it's like this offense could be like Big 12, SEC, sling the ball, or just ground and like they can kind of do it all.
Yeah.
Is what I think that they could be building.
I mean, to answer my own question, I think it's going to be more than enough to replace them, and also it's still not going to be the identity of their team, so it doesn't need to be this like elite group because of the fact Nick Singleton and Katron Allen's back and their offensive line should be good again. They're still just going to run the ball a ton, and then when push comes to shove and they have to throw, I think these guys can get open better than previous years' groups could get. Do you agree with that, JP?
I think there's no excuse at this point. All the weapons are there.
Yeah.
Offensively, they should not falter at all. Like health would be the only thing that could knock them back, but they'd have to lose multiple guys for that to be a question.
Sure.
They've really got no excuse in that, and I think looking forward to the season, because of that, I think they're going to be elite on both sides of the ball. They got no excuse to lose, definitely the Oregon game, but I almost feel like they have no excuse to not win the Ohio State game.
Yeah. To me, this team feels like a now or never team for Penn State.
For sure.
This is the year you got to show you can beat the best teams. This is the year even to find your way into the title game. Like, I have it down. It feels like a stars aligning moment.
Yeah.
Like, this team feels like it could be the best Penn State team we see it for a long time, and so they really need to capitalize on that.
Yeah. And Sven pointed out they steal Ohio State's defensive coordinator to pair with 3 top 50 prospects on the defensive side of the ball in A.J. Harris, Dennis Sutton, and Zane Durant. So the defense is going to be
Correct.
elite, too. They've got so many pieces there to pair with that really, really good offense. So I 100% agree that this team is – I mean, they're looking at, is the floor like another semifinal appearance? Did they get –
What do
no,
you mean by floor?
sorry.
Like, you don't
It's
see
not
them
floor.
doing
The expectation or,
for them not to be upset or feel like it's a lost
yeah,
season?
like we talked about Clemson and how the stars have aligned there. I kind of feel like in Penn State, they were eliminated in the quarterfinals, right? Last year? I think that's right.
Yes, they're in the
Yeah.
semifinal.
Because they lost to
Boston
Notre
did.
Dame in the semifinal.
Yes. Okay. So they were eliminated in the semifinals. I mean, if that's what they did last year and they're supposed to be better this year, do you kind of think the expectation is at least a championship appearance or a championship?
I mean, that's the expectation, but I don't think they'll make it past the semifinal. I don't think James Franklin has gotten the skeletons out of the closet there.
Fair.
I think we're still a step away. So that is if there's a knock on Drew Aller, it is you don't necessarily trust him in the big game yet. He just doesn't have that thing that would say, okay, he can take you over the top. And I think of I compare that to the other quarterback prospects, Lenore Sellers specifically has that, where it's in a big game, he's going to make the play when you need it most. I don't necessarily know that we have that with Drew Aller, but he made steps there.
Yeah.
And he'll have 2 big tests this season. And if he completes those tests, then I think it's national championship or bust.
Yeah, the James Franklin piece is a bit of a worry because he really just has not won many of these big games.
Yeah.
The biggest games in his career, he never gets the job done. But the over-under's at 10.5, just like Oregon's and just like Ohio State's. Are y'all both going to take the over like y'all did with those? Or y'all
I'm gonna say the exact same thing that I said for Ohio or for Oregon, I think, and say I look at the schedule and I see one loss, and that's at Ohio State.
Sure.
I think they're gonna win the Oregon game, and then the rest of the games they could win by 20, 25. That is a pretty light schedule. They got Northwestern at Iowa, Indiana's at home, at Michigan, Nebraska. This could be a lot of big blowouts for them. So I will be taking the over on 10.5. I don't have them going 12-0. I think they'll lose to Ohio State on the road, but I do have them going 11-1.
You got the over.
I'd say to pair this up with the other bet from earlier. I think this is 11 wins is one of my better bets of the season
Sure.
for college football.
Bet. I'm also going to take the over here. I'm not sure if they'll hit 12-0 or 11-1. Either way, that's the over. They do get really lucky. They don't have to play Washington like the other two top dogs in the conference. So, could call this a cream puff schedule because of that. But no, they'll hit the over.